Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Crown and today we are going to have some more stories that I hope that you will enjoy. But before we start, it will be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go! First story. Entitled Mom Demands Her 11-year-old Daughter to Get a Pregnancy/Drug Test. Please don't bite my head off as I'm also being vague due to HIPAA. I'm a practicing nurse in both an active clinic as well as ER nurse overnights. My life is hard enough. On with the show. It is a regular Thursday night at the ER. After my first job and the issues I had at the clinic, I'm already done with nonsense. And I do like to look at myself as I'm a good Southern woman. Accent and all. So I'm plugging myself in for another 10-hour show. We have the usual revolving door of patients coming in for a busted eardrum, medication referral, and a few ambulances coming in with patients from a nearby old folks' home. Most nights, it's for a urinary tract infection. Fun fact, most elderly will get aggressive or become disoriented when they have one. Typically, we keep them overnight for observation or let them hang out in the ER for a 3-hour nap. They are just so cute. Most of the time, we can have you in and out within 1.5 hours on a good night. I don't know what was in the air on this particular night, but things were smooth. We all know we, the ER staff, are always superstitious. And just waiting for that one crackhead to roll on up for the good-feeling drugs. It was just after midnight when a mother and her young daughter walked up to the register. There are like 20 cameras at the nurse's station, so we can see everything. Maybe a little too much at times. This mama comes in and wants us to take a look at her daughter. The registrar, who is just barely out of high school, inputs her into our medical system and has a patient fill out the basic demographic information needed for a patient to be seen. Our lovely registrar is seen on the monitor to get up and come to the back to ask a question. The registrar, nicknamed Nicole, asks, "Hey, do we have a victim's advocate on staff tonight?" "No, why?" "Well, this mom out here is claiming her daughter has been assaulted and would like to be evaluated." "Well, we can do the evaluation, but there is no advocate unless I call the authorities." Nicole says a quick thanks and returns to the front. Registers a little girl, approximately 11 years old, into the system to be seen. My medical assistant goes to the triage room, calls them in, starts to do the preliminary evaluation, then gets them settled in bed 4. Quick note here. Our ER is set up like a stable like this. We can see you in any matter and can get to you in seconds if you begin to code. Once settled in, my medical assistant comes up to me and gives me that one look. You know the look. That mama is crazy. It's not so much that she's crazy, it's that this mama makes hell for anyone. I get up and go into the room. I greet the mother and teen and I ask them what they are here for. The entitled mother says, "My daughter has been assaulted. I want her to get all the testing done." The girl says, "Mom," the girl pleads, "nothing happened. Can we just go home?" "Hush up," she hisses at her daughter. "Will this take very long? I need to get some rest before work tomorrow." "Well, ma'am, I can do any testing or treatment needed. The testing times may vary. However, I will have to speak privately to your daughter and obtain her permission to run some of those tests, as they are very evasive." The entitled mother gasps and looks offended. "What do you mean? I'm her mother. She will give you permission. She will get the testing done." I look at the young girl and begin the basic treatment explanation. So, a sexual assault, we would need to run a pregnancy test, a urinalysis, a drug test to swab her private areas to rule out any STDs or swimmers. Then we would give X to ward off pregnancy and STD transmission. After all is said and done, if requested for, we would contact the police and have them come in and assist in filing a report. I look at the mom who is absorbed in her cell phone, and I reach for one of our urine collection cups and attempt to hand it to her. The young girl, embarrassed and probably wanting to hide under a rock. Why? Let's just get it over with. I tell her, sweetie, is this not something you want to do? Would you like to talk about it?
Yes, she will do it. Now get on with it.
She spits out at me and her daughter. Why don't you tell me what happened? I ask the daughter.
I caught my daughter at her friend's party.
She waves her pointer finger at me.
There were boys. There were drinks and drugs. You're turning into a really little hussy. Well, I won't let that boy touch my daughter and get away with it.
Mom, Tyler did no such thing. And it was coke, not alcohol. Mom, can we please just go home? The girl is bleeding and near tears.
You will get the tests done.
The mama is yelling at her baby, talking over one another. Mom, can we please just go home? You can't get pregnant or drugged from just talking. Please. The girl is bleeding. I'm just standing there, my medical assistant next to me by the closed curtain, stunned into a frozen state.
You will get that test done now.
At that point, the mama was yelling. Thank goodness we don't have any other patients nearby. Nothing happened. Why do I have to get the test? The girl begins to cry.
You will get the tests done even if it means I hold you down while they do it.
She yells and the girl begins to cry. I say, now ma'am, I cannot and will not force your daughter to do anything against her will.
What are you saying? You won't have to. I will make her. What? Are you not going to treat my daughter?
This is not what I said, ma'am. I said your daughter has a right to choose on whether she wants to participate in treatment. I will not force this baby, no matter how old she is, to any tests she does not want. I understand this may be upsetting for you. We all were young and stupid once, but the entitled mother cuts me off.
I said test my daughter now.
This mama begins to turn beet red in the face, huffing and puffing. I'm sorry, ma'am. But at this point, ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave or call security and have you removed. I will not be able to assist or help you this evening. With that, I turn, walk out, close the curtain behind, and walk back to the nurse's station. I placed a quick call to our security team, and the mom comes out from around the curtain standing in the hallway, screaming at some poor soul on her phone, blabbing about how she's going to sue the whole hospital and that we are refusing to care for her poor baby that was just assaulted by some hoodlum. The security guard comes about the station. I point in the direction they head over and escort her out. I haven't seen or heard from them since. As a precaution, I did call CPS and have a welfare check done on the young girl. I really hope that girl is okay. Update. After the mom and daughter left the ER, the security team and I have placed separate calls to the local CPS. I did not know they made a call. I cannot confirm that CPS made a visit at 2 a.m., but at the end of my shift, at 5 a.m., we had to brief our department lead/supervisors and the incoming lead/supervisor, and I went home for the day. Upon hearing about the night's conflict, the security team supervisor got in contact with someone from the CPS office and his good old buddy, our city's chief of police. He was able to fill me in on what had transpired. A CPS worker and the chief made a personal house call by 9 a.m. the next day. CPS was able to do a thorough investigation with a frantic, entitled mother. She was arrested for assault/battery on a minor and neglect. As for the young girl, she was placed with her aunt that lives a few houses down. When they went home, the minor tried to stand up to her mom and her mom threw something at her daughter that caused swelling and bruising to the right side of her cheek. There is no father in the picture. The young girl has since testified against her mother that alleged abuse had happened frequently, and oftentimes she was left alone for days, sometimes weeks. The young girl was granted guardianship to her aunt through Guardian Ad Litem, an organization that aids children in domestic situations. The young girl could choose to never see or speak to the entitled mother again, according to the chief and security supervisor. The girl had reported additionally that her mother has been drinking and hanging out with a string of strangers, and it was discovered that the entitled mother was into illicit drugs and alcohol. The entitled mother had tried to plead insanity or that she was mentally unstable to answer for her actions, only that was determined likewise by the court. She is set to be sentenced in 2 weeks, and the mother is looking at 6 to 10 years jail time. Good for her. Next story. Crazy guy shoots the windows of the place I work at. It started when we saw a dude dent another guy's car and hit a potted plant in the parking lot of my business. I work at a bar and grill, and this was at the Super Bowl, so I wasn't really surprised to see some drunk guy just clip someone's car and nearly crash their own. This guy stumbled up to the door of the bar and definitely looked like he'd had one too many beers. I walked up to the manager and announced the arrival of the drunk guy. He said not to worry and that he would probably chill out once he sat down. Just picture this dude basically kicking in the door and stumbling to the bar. He was fat and was wearing a black tank top and khaki shorts. Let's call him DG. DG walking up to the bar and immediately started to yell at the barmaid.
I want a Racer 5, lady.
She looked pissed but reluctantly went to the taps and poured him a beer through. It was noticeably less full than most of the other ones she had poured that day. As the chief scored a touchdown, he practically smashed his mug on the counter of the bar and yelled a stream of curse words. It quickly turned in his direction. I asked my manager again what we should do, and he just said, "Go over there and tell him to stop disturbing the peace." I walked over and he was staring at my chief's hat like it was poison. "Sir, please stop disturbing our customers," I said, and there was a bit of nodding from the table closest to him. The only distinguishable thing I could hear him yell was,
Piss off!
At this point, I just wanted to call the cops, so I did just that. Unfortunately, the lady at the desk gave me the simple statement of, "The force is occupied at the moment," and I countered with, "Is there anyone there at all?" "No police. We have a few firemen, but no police. Thank you for your trouble," I said and then hung up. At this point, the guy was inches away from throwing punches. Therefore, I took matters into my own hands. He had gotten an order of wings and was eating them like a wild animal. "Leave the premises or we are calling the cops," I said as he threw a wing at the wall.
What are you gonna do, kiddo?
He said to me. I was furious with him, and I just walked up to my manager, who was at the moment entranced by an extremely long and reckless pass by the chiefs that fumbled. "Can I have some help with this?" I asked her, and she responded with, "Call the cops." And I said I had tried. She decided to walk over there, and all I heard was a bit of yelling until the guy smashed her face with his mug. I knew that this guy would be going to jail when we got out of this mess. I called the cops and they had some officers unoccupied and they sent him to the restaurant. The guy must have been listening to my call because he bolted out of the restaurant. He was about to be charged for drunk driving, assault and theft. He drove away but not before breaking someone's right mirror. The police arrived 5 minutes later and we pointed out the direction he went, but we didn't catch his plate number. We gave a description of his car, a thoroughly duct-taped Corolla, and his face. Imagine Vernon Dursley from the Harry Potter movies, except with a scraggly beard. I left my shift after that and my manager closed the restaurant. When I came back in the morning, I saw a spider web of cracks going along the huge main window of the bar. My manager was standing in the doorway with a few other employees behind her who were all laughing. "Come look at this," was all she said. I followed her inside, and she brought me into her office where she had her Mac turned on and played a video. It showed a guy from yesterday shooting the windows of the store with a gun. Also, very clearly, his license plate was facing at an angle where you could see it from the camera. A happy ending to end this mess. What a crazy idiot. Next story. Illegal handicap placard user gets owned. This happened many moons ago, in Ohio or Indiana at a festival. Here is the story. Friend, her husband, a super kind guy who lost a leg as a child and gets around surprisingly great hopping. He once brought a full glass of water to me without spilling it while hopping. This is important later. Their two children and I crammed into a car, maybe smaller SUV, along with our camp chairs and cooler to enjoy music at a festival's live music. As we pull up, he shows the attendant his handicap placard that has his picture on the placard. We are waved into the handicap parking. This is closer to the park where we can watch the kids on the playground and band without schlepping all of our stuff very far. As we are unloading, a jerk starts yelling about us illegally parking. Husband is sitting in the car putting up the sunshades, hiding valuables and waiting for one of us to get his crunches. He had a prosthetic he hated, so he rarely used it. The jerk is yelling obscenities at my friend and I while we're getting the children out of the car before we can get the crutches to her husband. Husband is in the car asking us what's going on, and my friend tells him not to worry about it. And aren't those the famous last words? About this time, the jerk is ramping up like an alcoholic redneck with self-control issues and calls one of us a very bad word. There is 4 females, 2 of which are adults and the other in single digits. Husband hears that dreaded stupid witch's comment and he one-footed charges out of the car and aggressively hops. Yes, it can be done. He hops to the jerk. The jerk's eyes widen when he sees a one-legged pissed-off lineman hopping towards him with a look of death on his face. Husband gets to the door as the sound of locks clicking on the jerk's car and roars. Say it again. The jerk is as white as a sheet, rolling up the window as fast as he can. He floors his trunk, digging into the soft turf and not getting anywhere. Grass and dirt flying into the air as his truck goes deeper into the earth. The roar of the engine not quite covering the jerk's fearful curses or the splat of grass and dirt on the surrounding cars. Once the undercharge is sitting on the earth and tires just spin uselessly, the jerk stops trying to drive away. We gather our stuff and bring the husband his crutches as we all go to watch the kids play and the live bands on the stage. A few hours later, we shelf all of our stuff plus the cranky, exhausted children who are all insisting on being carried back to the car to see the jerk's truck is still buried in the earth with tickets on the windshield and the evil red/orange tow sticker on the driver's window. This is the icing on the cake. Husband and father owned a tow company, and husband was tasked with towing the jerk out of the park. Husband didn't offer a drop free, and the jerk had to watch the one-legged linebacker hop around, pull his truck out, then had to deal with him again at the shop to pay tow fees. That is after the jerk had all the proper paperwork and receipts for the town, county, and state tickets that were issued. I learned that jerk also caused his parents' handicap placard to be revoked due to the jerk's illegal use of their placard. Now that I feel bad about. Nobody should have their mobility compromised due to someone's stupidity. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.